Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. All right, welcome. It is a nice Tuesday edition of the POMcast. I am so glad you are joining us today. We have a jam-packed show in store for you today. We have a little bit of press conference highlights with Lane Kiffin and the boys coming up in just a little bit. We're going to do a little segment of Know Thy Enemy, the Arkansas edition of that. We'll look at the stats of the Hogs and what to look forward to. And we'll talk about why parity in college football, there's such a divide between 1 and 2 and everybody else. So we'll do that. Before we get started, though, I do want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. 1-800-330-7461. Again, that is 1-800-330-7461. Basically, anything you need. Everybody needs a vacation right now. That is understandable. These guys will provide a resource for you down here for you to go do the parks and everything that's going on. The best part about it is they can get you the same price you can get online, just with a resource to bounce ideas off of that know all the different rules. So give them a call, 1-800-330-7461. Also, go to bookatailgate.com. That is bookatailgate.com for your needs around tailgating and the Ole Miss games. They have single game packages. They have the rest of the season packages. I think it starts at about $200 a game. They can basically store your tailgating stuff for the weekend and set you up. They can rent you what you need. They can put a TV on your tent. They can give you an extra tent if more people are coming than you were expecting. And plus, they can pick up your catering. So give them a call, 662-701-1177, bookatailgate.com. Also want to tell you about La Terrain Watches, the official watch partner of the Positively Ole Miss channel. Give them a look up. Nice, affordable watches out there. When you go to checkout, use promo code POMcast, POMcast, and get automatically 10% off. So do that for us, and it'd be fantastic. Thank you. You can watch the show on Twitter at The Stephen Willis or at Ole Positively. You can catch us on Facebook when it's up at facebook.com/POMcast. You can catch us on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about it, Positively Ole Miss. And we're also on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all lowercase, all one word. You can catch us there as well. Remember these alternate slots. So when we have a situation like yesterday, there's other places you can go. We're not tied into one thing. That is why it's nice that it's so diverse. Also, this week we are doing a test of echoing. That's a term that I'm using. We're going to take SEC After Dark and allow another channel to stream it. And we're going to start building that up around SEC. We want to build it up around SEC channels to have that show in different places. That could be quite interesting and a lot of fun. There's a little bit of content and a way to bring everybody in the league together. So that look out for that on Wednesday. It's a nice little test. We're small-time echoing, like one other site. We want to see how it works, and we want to understand it a little bit better before we start, getting the LSU guys involved and the Alabama guys and all those spread around that have YouTube channels that'll provide them with a little piece of content. So that should be a lot of fun. We're going to do right now, we are going to do the presser highlights, and then when we come back, we will get started and everything that we need to do. So stick around.
All right, so first time since watching the film and meeting with players, obviously disappointing loss. Unfortunately, it really is, what we talked about during the week. If you go into that place with the number one team in the country and you don't play really well in all areas, don't execute and make mistakes, they'll knock you down really quick, which is what happened. They got great coaches, great players. They came to play. I'm sure last year's game, was in their head defensively especially. And, hats off to them for doing a great job. So we got to get back to work. We've, addressed what we need to as what we need to work on to improve. Like I've told our coaches before, I wish that you open the season with Alabama every year. So then, if you're not playing right, you're not playing with good fundamentals, you're not playing physical, you get exposed and, instead of, being able to get by with some stuff, until the fourth game of the year. So hopefully we'll get better.
We have the 24-hour rule around here. So, that's in the past, and we're 1-0 from here on out, working on Arkansas, keeping a great mindset, getting better every day.
I had a little bit of a lower body injury at the start of training camp. It was just a minor setback, but I'm working through it, and I'm pretty much 100% right now. So I'm getting back to normal now. So,
well, we're always looking at schematical things we can do better, and could have. It appears to me they really vanilla down, did not play a lot of different things defensively, and got their cleats in the grass, and much different than the year before where, they were trying to line up and get things done. It seemed very different. And so, when those guys line up and their cleats are in the grass, they got really good players, and 31 dominated us, whether it was, coming down to the guard or the tackle. Great player. I think 10 has made them a lot better because he's a great player, and it seems, he really gets them lined up really well, which has always been a key, I feel like, to that defense, having a really good player at that spot to do that.
Just playing with heart. We're never going to give up a game no matter what the score is. So just keep going, keep the foot on the gas, and control what we control.
They're a really good team, and we're focused on them now. We've moved on from the Alabama game, and we're going to fix all the problems there, and then just focus on Arkansas and, prepare for them. So.
Well, this is the SEC and the SEC West. You go play the number one team now. You come home to, a top 15 team that, obviously, struggled last week against, I think, what it appears during the bye of watching people and stuff like that. You got two super elite teams this year, with great players, both sides, but especially defense. And then it seems like there's kind of a drop-off. So, gauging them in that game, everyone has struggled. Georgia's got great players and exposes people. So prior to that, they were playing extremely well. They run the ball really well. They don't give up explosive plays. I think they're second in the country in pass defense. So this is a scheme we struggled with a year ago. We basically switched to it pretty much on our defense because it's really good, and they do a great job.
Yeah, they do a really great job, and it is time to turn the page to the Arkansas game. It is time to really start paying attention to the Hogs, and we're going to do our Know Thy Enemy section. Basically, they are led by KJ Jefferson. This is a team that without him, they genuinely struggle. They have Malik Hornsby as their backup quarterback, but he's not really the threat throwing the ball that KJ is. KJ actually has a sneaky good ball on the deep ball, and he relies on Treylon Burks, who's caught the ball 22 times for 383 yards. He's averaging 17 yards a catch. He has 2 touchdowns. He's a 225-pound guy, that they use numerous different ways to get the ball. They exploit mismatches. He's going to be a lot of work. The KJ Jefferson deep ball with that. I don't know how much our drop 8 is going to kind of stick around with that. I don't know what really to expect. But KJ Jefferson, it can be a sneaky good deep ball thrower. He's not a good intermediate route thrower. He's not a good necessarily short thrower, but he does throw a sneaky good deep ball. So that needs to be on the agenda for everybody, and especially understand that Treylon Burks is an attempted receiver. He's also got 3 carries on the year. Now, Treylon Smith has ran the ball 62 times for 302 yards. That's a little bit less than 5 yards a carry. He's a workhorse. It's an old school SEC workhorse at running back. He's not a very big guy, but between him and the QB powers that they run with KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's run game is dangerous. They run the ball a lot. They've got 217 carries through 5 games. To put that in perspective, Ole Miss has 179 through 1 less game. So it's about 30 or 40 difference. I was told there'd be no math. But he's an excellent player. They use him as a workhorse, and they have Raheem Sanders. I believe that might be the number 5, either him or Dominic Johnson. They're both young guys that are very good running backs that you have to pay attention to. So they ran the ball. They have 5 backs with over 20 carries on the season, and only 1 receiver in double figures. So make sure Burks has covered up and handled the run. That is the plan for Saturday. Now, Arkansas is dangerous. Don't discount them based on what you saw at Georgia. Georgia is probably the best team in the country. Just like you don't need to just judge Ole Miss by what you saw at Alabama. They're number 2. And we're going to talk about there being a big drop-off down after that. We're going to hit the parity in segment 2. But this is a game where Arkansas is going to come out and try and establish the run. Now, since this defense and their defense is kind of similar, it's kind of ice cream but different flavors. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it's close. Barry Odom does his own little thing that he's built, and that's a little bit different than what they did at Iowa State, but it's kind of a, right church, different pew type scenario. But they will know where the weak points in the running game this defense has because they go against it all the time. I imagine there's going to be some off-tackle stuff that we have to pay attention to. The linebackers and the box safeties are going to have a good game, and they're going to have to tackle pretty well. The one thing from the Alabama game that made me, I don't know if concern's the right word or whatever, but just I found it kind of interesting, is they were so physical. There were so many times that we were stopped 1 yard away from picking up the first down, which forced a 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 and really forced our hands. But they came up and just played so physical. We need to match that this week, and we need to play extremely physical. I expect to see a little Snoop Connor. Henry Parrish actually played a really good game. Matt Corral actually played a really good game. We had a little bit of trouble in the trenches. I mean, that's expected. There's 4 and 5 stars everywhere. You're going to have troubles with Alabama, no matter if you win the game or not. You're never not going to have trouble with them. But Henry Parrish Jr. actually played a really good game. In the second half, Jerry Ely looked like he wasn't in the game. I don't know if he got a nick or what was going on, but Parrish was kind of running the show after that, him and Snoop Connor. So it'll be interesting to see. Henry Parrish is developing into quite the running back. He's leading the team in rushing right now. And I find it very interesting that he is kind of, taking up. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. 223 yards on the season. That's about 20 yards more than Jerry and Ely. But Snoop is 4th at 137. Now, everybody wants bangers. Everybody's going to look at the fourth down conversions from the hindsight or lack thereof and say, why didn't we bring Snoop in? Well, the whole purpose of the offense and what we do is tempo. And if we bring Snoop in for that situation, it is going to slow down because they are going to match the substitution. They're going to match up with us, and then it becomes a man-on-man run. And that isn't what this offense does. This offense operates by tempo and deception and hoping to get you in the wrong gap because you're having to process information a little bit too quickly. That's what this offense does. It's not a line 'em up 1984 Bo Jackson dive over the top on 4th and 1. No, this is about getting the shotgun and find areas that you can exploit because they're not really, they're having to think so quickly that they get in trouble. One of the things that Alabama apparently did really well was they only had one or two defenses, and they have the talent to pull that off. They have the talent to pull that off, and they were able to handle our tempo just because they were playing the same couple of defenses over and over and over again. There's only two teams in the conference that can do that. Honestly, there's only two teams in the conference that can do that. And we're done with it. So, all right. That's what I'm talking about. 1 second. There we go. Had a dead shot come up in the playlist. What is going on there? Well, anyway, that's the way we are going to handle everything that's going on with Arkansas, and look at the beneficiaries that were taken from the Alabama game. Matt Corral played really well. He did. Henry Parrish played really well. We missed Jonathan Mingo more than I thought we would. He provides a piece that we didn't have, a physicality that we didn't have, that Alabama was able to exploit. Again, I don't see any of this coming up for the Arkansas game. Like the physicality piece, maybe the slip screen game because they play so soft, the physicality, maybe them we will miss him. It's somebody that maybe Dontario Drummond could potentially move out wide with the interior John Rice Plumlee to go against Arkansas, just to add that physical piece on the outside. So I'm really interested in how we're going to do this. I mean, it's not necessarily something that people do all the time, honestly. And I'm genuinely interested in it because Arkansas is a good team, a genuine good team. And they need to be respected, but this is a game Ole Miss has to win. If we want a special season, something that represents something else, that we haven't all seen, and you see in the conference, it's opening up for you to take what you want. Texas A&M might be 6th in the West right now. LSU might be 7th in the West. LSU and State, they're all in that group together. Auburn beat LSU, they might be in that little group as well. Ole Miss might be a clear-cut number 3 with a space over the rest of the West, and they've already played Alabama. They have Vanderbilt on the schedule. They go to Tennessee, who is looking better. Tennessee's a good club, and that's going to be fun because of the pace at which both offenses are going to play. I'm really looking forward to that. They want to run the ball. I want to see what they can do. If they have to throw the ball, win first down into that drop 8, I expect Hendon Hooker to struggle a little bit. But I don't think they're going to be able to do what they did in Missouri because Missouri, that was just rough. That was absolutely rough. But you can see SEC-wise why this is all opening up. Ole Miss has a shot to go 7-1 in the league this year. Not saying they will. They've got that shot. Right now, I think on the FPI, the only game where Ole Miss isn't the statistical favorite is Auburn. And Auburn is the favorite by like 4 points. That's a gettable game as well. There's not a game left on the schedule that Ole Miss can't win. That you won't. You'll go into expecting a loss. And That's an interesting feeling. I mean, right now this could be a Sugar Bowl type team. Could be an Orange Bowl. This could be an Access Bowl team. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will talk about the parity in college football, and I will explain to you a little bit why I don't get so worried. Everybody is like pressing and doing a deadline thing about this season, and yes, we have great players and everything's in position, but they're recruiting through building a program, and I'll tell you why I'm not so worried about that fact moving into next season. Although it will be the storyline moving forward. As soon as the season ends, as soon as the final gun hits, they will start harping on this. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the POMcast. Hope you're having a good day. My name is Stephen Willis. I am the host. And in the first segment of the show, we talked about the presser highlights yesterday with Lane Kiffin, Tavius Robinson, and Chase Rogers. And also started going into Arkansas a little bit. Statistically, talking about KJ Jefferson and Traylon Burks and Traylon Smith as kind of the three-headed monster that is Arkansas football at the moment. They do a ton of running the football. It is really interesting. They run a lot of that Baylor stuff that we run. Same thing. Kendall Briles and Jeff Lebby, they all run the same stuff. And you can see how the system can change based on run and based off pass. So the Arkansas, you wouldn't believe going into this that this is the same offense at Arkansas and Ole Miss. It's just how flexible it is, and it is a really cool thing to see. And I think Lane Kiffin specifically, this is Lane Kiffin's offense. I don't know if we need to keep calling it the Baylor offense. This is Lane Kiffin's offense. But we need to understand that he likes to bring a Baylor coach in to teach it the first time, because the install and getting everybody ready to go and ramped up, with 100 players out there, it could be difficult to do it the first time. So you bring in a bunch of Baylor guys with like Ole Miss, with Jeff Lebby, Joe John Finley, Randy Clements, all on that Baylor staff, and have seen it work. They were able to install the offense. And then once it happens, once they leave, like they did at Kendall Briles at FAU, the offense kind of stays the same, but he feels confidence to go in to get another coach. So pay attention to that. I'm not saying that I'm not minimizing the fact that a loss of Jeff Lebby would hurt. He's a good football coach. You need good football coaches. But when it comes to coaching hires, I trust Lane implicitly, because, there's no reason not to at this point. Now, the same thing happens with the personnel next year. I trust Lane implicitly with offensive personnel, and especially at the quarterback position. When RG3 left, was Baylor going to drop off? Yeah, that's unbelievably. And you end up with like Bryce Petty and just a line of one after the other at quarterbacks. Where in this system, if you follow the rules, there is a bit of system quarterback in play. You still have to have a strong arm and do all the stuff that you have to do, but there is a system in place that can make this work. I like Luke Altmaier. I like whoever we're going to sign this year. And in 2023, there's a certain player at Newman High School in New Orleans that I'm interested about. So we're doing what we need to do at the quarterback position. We're improving the talent at the other 21 positions. That's the key point of this, is we're improving that talent as well. So you don't need a super elite quarterback. We got the best player in college football playing quarterback for us right now. But we do not have the best other 21 other position players in college football. We're going to raise those 21 up. We're going to take a step back at quarterback next year, but we're going to be fine. As you can see this year, everybody, the storyline all offseason is how in the world are they going to replace Elijah's production? And then you see it. You see what these guys are capable of. So just a heads up about that. It is going to be fine. I know people are going to want to put a deadline that we need to do it. We have an elite quarterback right now. Let's handle it. No, let's build a program that looks like what we saw Saturday. That should be our goal. Not to win a game, to build that program. So, and that's a nice transition to the fact that this year is kind of weird. It is number 1 and number 2, and then just a huge gap to number 3 and number 4 and number 5, and it just goes on down. Now, a lot of people will say, why is this happening? Well, this is going to come on down to the fact that Alabama and Georgia have essentially player personnel departments, and they know which type players are required for their systems. They evaled well. In a year when last year the rankings were all messed up. Everything was messed up because you couldn't go out and see players, and there was a lot of guessing. The rankings still happened, but they didn't actually mean something. So these evaluations became more and more important. If you relied on those rankings too much, it's jumping up to bite you. See LSU right now. If you are relying on whether or not they fit in your system, you are excelling. See Alabama and Georgia right now. And they're accelerating because they're number 1 and number 2 in the nation in recruiting, and it's not particularly close. So, and they do it by evaluation. That's the amazing thing. They're not star hunting. They do it by evaluation. If you are a 3-star that, like Josh Jacobs, you'll get an Alabama scholarship. And everybody's saying, well, why is he getting an Alabama scholarship? Well, that's obviously other people missed on this player. And so you have tiers right now. Tier 1 is Alabama and Georgia. Tier 2, and it's not particularly close, is about 7 or 8 teams. Tier 3 is about 30 teams. And that's the way college football works this year. Now, the goal is to get to where we are up in that Tier 1. And we're only going to be able to do that in recruiting. We've got the schemes in place. Now we just get to find players that fit those schemes. And this 3-2-6 that we're playing, everybody talks about it and everything's going on. It's going to allow us to sign tweeners to where that they don't fit in a traditional defense, but they fit in ours. And you're going to see some length, and you're going to see some athleticism, and you're going to see some 215-pound players on the outside that is going to make this defense exceedingly fast. These players might not get outside linebacker scholarships or safety scholarships, but to be a box safety in our defense, they fit like a glove. Like Jalen White, quarterback in Little Rock. He's a 3-star. You look at him, he's like, yeah, he's probably a 3-star, but if you look at what he can do in our defense, he becomes a much more valuable asset. So, it is 11:29. Thank you very much for tuning in today. think I'm going to give you a couple of minutes back. I do want to thank everybody for joining us today and, making this as easy as possible for a fan going into the No Thy Enemy. And then today we're going to record with Bill Flowers and Biscuits and SEC. And tonight, Best of the West. You can climb in for that. And we'll talk a little Western Division football with Jake Thomas and Kevin Bohannon. Tune in for that. That's Kevin Bohannon. If you want an Arkansas perspective, Kevin Bohannon is an Arkansas guy. Also on Thursday, he's going to do a live stream with me previewing the game. I'm pretty excited about that. And let's see. Wednesday, we are going to start our echoing with SEC After Dark. So we got a lot of stuff coming on. Friday will be just the POMcast, and then Saturday we'll enjoy the games, and Sunday's the review show. So thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time. And of course, hotty toddy.